Let's talk a little bit about the NFL, though, the second week. It's technically the third week of the preseason, but this past slate of games that we had for the NFL, a lot more backup exposure, but we also got to see some of these starters. One thing that really stood out to me that had me really excited, John Mechie was a guy who's got a really good story, Texans receiver who took some time off because of an illness. He was able to come back. And he took over in the second half of that Texans-Giants game when I was watching it. He was constantly open, and he's just way better than any of the backups on most rosters that he was able to cook as much as he did. I really think somebody should go and trade for John Mechie. I think that he's buried right now on that roster because they have Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Stephon Diggs. It's going to be hard for him to just even simply get onto the field. I think that's enough proof of like, hey, this kid's good. This guy's good. He's going to provide some value. He would be a really good third receiver on some teams. Might even be good enough to be a good secondary option for some of these teams that don't have anybody. Like the Panthers. The Panthers need some goddamn receivers.
You don't think Adam Thielen is going to be able to get
it done?
Is
he even still there?
Next to Deontay Johnson?
Well, okay, so they did draft Xavier Legette, who's going to be a pretty good player. But
yeah.
I don't know, like the Panthers, though, is the first team that comes to mind that feels like they just don't have much going on at receiver.
I want Mechie in Atlanta. And there were reports out of Washington that
y'all got so many receivers.
Rondale Moore just went down, and he's going to be out for the season. So, look, I think I watched the Mechie drive, and the broadcast was actually calling it, oh, good, way to end the John Mechie drive with a John Mechie touchdown. He was carving you guys up. The Giants, and it wasn't just Mechie that was open. Everybody was open. Nico Collins was open. Everybody on the Texans was open. I think that he could... what do you think? Like week 4, someone tries to make a big jump if their one gets hurt? I think maybe when he goes.
That's kind of one of those things where you trade him now. You know,
his value will be higher when more teams are desperate. When one of these teams, number 2 wide receivers, goes down out for the year.
If I'm John Mechie and I'm his agent, I'm saying like, okay, if anyone calls, can you please move him? Just if you're a competitor and you want to get onto the field and you want to contribute, it really sucks because of the situation that he's in, that he's almost just nationally forgotten about. And I think anyone who's not been paying attention to the preseason is scratching their head going, what the hell are you talking about John Mechie for? He played really freaking good. The amount of plays and the types of plays that he made in that game were extremely impactful. They were fantastic. They are reminiscent of a guy who can be a third receiver on your team who racks up 750 yards and is able to maybe have a big game here or there.
He stood out. Another thing from this game that stood out, Daniel Jones.
Jesus,
what look, I'm not bringing it up because I want to get under your skin because you're a Giants fan, right?
Yeah.
But if the Falcons went out and stunk it up and put up 12 points, so if that was one of your thoughts, you could have said that also.
We need to talk. I forgot to write that down. We need to talk about that next in a second, by the way.
What, Atlanta?
The Michael Penix thing. We need to talk about that in a quick second.
Okay, fine. But Daniel Jones throwing 2 horrendous interceptions, looking as uncomfortable as he... And the Texans are going to be good. This is an indication the Texans are going to be a good team this year. But
wait, those throws that he made were not anything that's like, wow, look how good this defense is. Look at the play that he made.
Right.
It's the same Daniel Jones bullshit where he's not reading the field, he's not thinking, and he's just making the most ridiculous decision possible in a situation. Whenever you're watching a guy and you're thinking, what's the worst thing that we could do in this scenario? And he manages to do it. The first one that he threw, was it the... No, it was the first one.
The first one was in the end zone.
He was escaping pressure and just take the sack, go down, and instead, for some reason, he just launches the ball and it gets picked off in return for a pick six. Like, you can't do that. You're not a rookie anymore. Yeah. You're not a second-year player anymore. You have been in the league. You're on your second contract. You can't keep doing stupid shit like this.
It looked like a Marcus Mariota pass where he's been in the league. All right, Marcus, you've been in the league for 8 years. Yeah, exactly. Take the sack. It's the preseason. He's trying to make some hero ball play. Yeah. And you know what? I'll give it. Malik Neighbors had a great catch. Jalen Hyatt had a fantastic catch. Like those two receivers, if they had a competent quarterback, would shine in New York. And I think that Neighbors genuinely could be a star because his body, his body control is insane.
That catch that he made,
crazy. Like that was one that maybe, like, wow, really? That's what he's going to do every week.
They haven't had anything like that in a long time.
Impressive for sure. Oh my God, was the quarterbacking bad though? What is the why? Why retain that guy? I just can't fathom it.
They're in too deep, and this is why my whole criticism of him receiving that second contract that a lot of people crapped on me for was that, the argument of it's hard to find a quarterback. He had a really good year. He's earned the contract. You need to give it to him. He's going to continue to get better. But my argument was his performance was reminiscent of a guy that earned an extra year and a prove-it deal.
Yeah.
And now because you've given him this longer contract, you were stuck buying into him and having to give him another shot this offseason or this upcoming season instead of trying to make a move. Nobody's going to trade for him in this contract. Nobody, no. Unless you get a Brock Osweiler type situation where the Browns took on that contract and then they dumped him before the start of the year because they had so much cap space that it meant nothing to them for them to do that. There was nowhere to send him to do this. Daniel Jones absolutely stinks. I don't need to keep saying this. He's not the guy. He's never going to be the guy. Think of all the other quarterbacks that the plug has been pulled on them quicker. Kenny Pickett, who we made fun of on the Thursday show, looked like shit, and the Steelers were quick enough to realize, hey, there's other options out there. Let's go get Russell Wilson.
We'll figure it out.
And Justin Fields, two guys that the Giants could have been interested in. And they bailed on Kenny Pickett with multiple years left on his rookie contract as a first rounder.
Yeah.
That's good strategic planning, knowing when you should cut your losses.
Right, know when to fold the hand. And you know what's crazy also? Dak Prescott is still waiting on that contract in Dallas. He is getting a prove-it year. He is getting a prove-it year from Jerry in Dallas. And Daniel Jones is walking around the $40 million man everywhere he goes. Oh, he grew a beard. It's so over for the league this year. No, he stinks.
That was the worst part about this. Everyone's like, "Oh, Daniel Jones, look at the beard. Oh, he's got so much aura. He's got so much juice." No, he's the same shit-ass quarterback, but he just grew some fucking facial hair. Oh, look at it. Oh, he's just got a different vibe. He just feels different. No, he just didn't shave, you absolute idiots. They get bought in and sucked in with the same crap. I think most people are doing it satirically, but for anyone who wasn't, get it together. Speaking of other quarterback issues, this bugged the hell out of me. Michael Penix didn't really... I don't think he played at all in the Falcons game.
No, he did not.
The comment that was made after the game from Raheem Morris, Mike showed us last week enough that we don't have to play him in the preseason. So normally, let's remove all the context for a second.
Yeah.
That's said about a quarterback who you know is ready to start, is going to have a big year, and you don't want everybody to see what he's going to be like. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, Raheem Morris, that's a really good point that you're presenting here. I don't think that there's any reason to put him out there to risk any injury. You drafted a quarterback that's going to sit for 3 years, that needs reps, that needs in-game reps, that is very talented and needs exposure. Is he hurt or something that we don't know about? Why the hell would you not put in the guy that needs reps to improve? No one's going to take him from you. No one's just going to show up and put him onto a bus and ship him out somewhere because he plays. What do you mean you know what he can do? What?
No, he knows what the fans will say. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, that is cowardly as all
I think
bullshit.
It's such a weak move.
That is cowardly.
It's a weak move by Atlanta to sit there and say, we can't have Penix going out there looking sharp against Baltimore and then have Kirk go out and have some stinkers. That's the
logic?
That's what I think it is.
Everywhere. Sorry.
I think that's what it is in my opinion. I think
that better not be the logic. That's insane.
Look, all Morris said was we saw what he can do. We saw what he's capable. That's what his comment is. I think, hey, we already kind of screwed Kirk by drafting this guy, but Kirk's at the end of his career. We can rationalize it. Even though I'm happy about having Michael Penix Jr. on my team, Kirk now has a young, exciting rookie sitting behind him, and he, at the end of the day, everyone knows who Kirk Cousins is. So if it's week 8 and the Falcons are 3-5, you don't want a bunch of tape of Michael Penix carving people up in the preseason. That's what I think the logic is. Which is cowardly.
That is cowardly.
Yeah, I agree.
if that does happen and you're 3-5 and it's week 7 or 8 or when, I don't know when your bye week is.
Yeah.
And Michael Penix does put up some really good tape in the preseason and he looks ready to go. And Kirk Cousins, which this is highly likely because the guy's coming off of an Achilles tear and how old is he?
I think he's like 36, 37.
36?
Yeah, let me see.
There's a chance that he is going to be immobile and not as good as he was. So if that happens,
35.
And one guy is better than the other one, you freaking play him.
I'm with you. Why are you screaming at me?
I'm not screaming at you. I'm just screaming. Don't tell me not to scream. It's the point of the show.
36 tomorrow, actually. I think, I think there was a total botch by Atlanta because I need him to get reps in the preseason. I've seen Taylor
Nathaniel
Heineke.
Hackett level decision making.
It's really bad. Everyone was excited about Raheem. Everybody was.
I was too.
I'm not.
I was one of the few that were very congratulatory of the hire, and I thought that he deserved the opportunity, and a lot of people crapped on it. I think that he has earned.
I thought everybody, it was a unanimous home run decision.
No, a lot of people were saying that like this is kind of like a lazy, just C+ level hire. A lot of people were saying that. I pushed back. I said that he was great with the Rams, but more importantly, when he's been an interim coach, he has been phenomenal. But this is weird to say.
So why didn't he get rehired in 2021? He had a chance, and then he got shipped off to LA. That's when it should have happened. And then we had the Arthur Smith experiment. It's just how it works in Atlanta. It's unfortunate. I thought it was a bad hire. This can't happen. You can't have just things that successful teams do this. Would the Kansas City Chiefs pull some shit like this? I'm yelling. This is what loser basement franchises do. You can't explain it. You can't truly explain it because they're always gonna be loser basement franchises that do dumb stuff like this.
Nice audio, technical understanding to grab the microphone while you're yelling.
I can't.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to give him a little bit of grace here. I actually think it's more Fontenot than it is him.
I would agree.
I would think that considering how much unnecessary, I don't want to say it's meddling, but unnecessary impacts in decision making and very clear lack of being on the same page between him and Morris. There's clearly something that's not on the same page here. The way that Fontenot's making decisions and Morris is trying to build this team. It's not meshing. But you know what this made me think of? This is reminiscent of the whole debacle of when they were trying to get. Was it a different year when they're
trying to get Watson?
No, when the Giants. This isn't when they had Daniel Jones. It was that stupid thing where they put in Geno Smith and they ended.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, they unnecessarily, because you know what? Because it's not what a good team would do or a good franchise would do. When teams are bottoming out, you can tell. If you watch long enough, you can tell why this team is bad because they don't do a lot of things that good character NFL franchises do. The big ones do. Pittsburgh, even if they have a bad player, like you mentioned, Kenny Pickett, they move quickly and they make the smart operational decision. Atlanta doesn't do that. Terry Fontenot just signs players, which I know we've been begging for in Atlanta. Everybody said, give us Justin Simmons. Got him. Give us an edge rusher, Matthew Judon. Got him. Cool. Great. Will it work? No, it won't. Jesse Bates worked. That was great. That was a good signing. None of this other stuff is going to work. It's just they can't do stuff like this. You can't have Kirk Cousins, who has always been battling with the guy behind him. Even when he was the second string guy, his whole career has been Kirk Cousins or not Kirk Cousins, the quarterback. It's Kirk Cousins or. And now you brought in another or when you didn't need to bring in an or, even though I'm happy about Michael Penix Jr. being the or. And now we don't even get to see him play. It's such a critical blunder. And it's a preseason game in week 2. And we got so much more football ahead. But this is an indicator of the mess that we're going to see.
The last thought that I wanted to hit on here, we both wrote down the Bears. Just being fun. I know that a lot of people kind of scoff at what the hell does that mean? What does that mean that they're going to be fun? It's a very nondescript way of explaining expectations for a team and their performance. But the more that we get to watch Caleb Williams throw on the run, not lose any power on his arm, and make these goofy, ridiculous, goofy is a bad word, these ridiculous, impossible throws, and we watch Rome Odunze make these really tricky catches that require some great hand strength, some great body control. Keenan Allen's apparently 235 pounds or something like that. I saw people talking about that on Twitter. Somebody edited a picture of him so it looked like he had a huge ass, which was really funny.
Where are you at on Twitter? You got a weird circle, man.
Weird places. But and DJ Moore, there was that one clip of him on Hard Knocks where he got hit and he's like, I love football. Like, I just really love what this offense is going to be. And I just think back to my entirety of being alive. Mm-hmm. The Chicago Bears offense has always been, we're going to run the football. We're going to have a ridiculously big running back that can't really hit that second gear.
We're going to have nutso linebackers that are just out of control and maybe a good defensive end.
But on offense specifically, it was just constant straining and hope that the ball would move. There was that one time when they had Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall when they were pretty explosive.
That was a fun year.
But that was still 3/4 of the way there. Still haven't had a 4,000-yard passer. I think Caleb Williams can throw for 4,000 yards this year, man.
I agree.
I think he is going to make some unreal plays. He is going to get the full, and I know some people are going to just barf at this, but he deservedly is going to have the Michael Jordan effect there in Chicago. He's going to make plays. It's a city that has a very aggressive and excited fan base that I think that the hype is just going to build and build and build. In this rookie year for him, I am hoping that they get to the playoffs. I hated him when he was at USC because I'm a Notre Dame fan, but now that he's in the league, he is on a team that is going to create buzz and headlines. If he had ended up with the Jaguars like Trevor Lawrence, I think I would have been a little disappointed.
Stunk. It would have sucked. If he,
the market was just so tiny that it's not getting enough national exposure. He is going to get so much exposure.
Yeah. The Bears this preseason have outscored they're 3-0, which that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
They've got 81 points on offense right now, and they've given up 26 in 3 games. That's not what the Bears do. The last 2 games, Bears beat the Bills 33-6. This past weekend, Bears beat the Bengals 27-3. Are you kidding me? This is not the Chicago Bears of old. It feels like a legit team. This is what good teams do in the preseason. Hey, I have a deep team with a lot of players, and this is what we bring in and what we've been coaching. We win those games. We beat you by a lot.
Splash plays.
Yeah. Oh my God! This is impact. This is tangible. It's a tangible preseason for the Bears. They're not just going through the motions like other teams in the preseason.
I forget which team it was, but there was this is gonna bug me which team it was. There was a team that not that long ago, I think went 4-0 in the preseason, and then they had a horrible record. I forget who it was.
I remember
it was the Lions or it was the Giants. It was one of those.
There's only been one team in NFL history that's had a winless preseason and gone on to win the Super Bowl, and that's the LA Rams from a couple years ago.
Yeah,
that's the only team.
I remember that.
Optimally, and on the inverse of that, if you are defeated in the preseason, the odds are terrible for you to go and win the Super Bowl. Or if you go perfect, they're also not great. Only 2 teams have done that. So you kind of want to end up in the preseason 3-1, 2-1, 1-2. You don't want to win them all. You don't want to lose them all. But the Bears feel like they are a team that is going to challenge everybody. Not win every game, but they are going to challenge everybody. It's not a team that you're coming in and you're going to lose or you're going to beat the Bears. It's not the 1-15 Jaguars bye. It is a team that you're going to have to be ready to compete with. And that's all an NFL fan wants. A team that goes out there and it's not a gimme loss every single week.
Only other stupid, offhanded thought that we had when we were watching the Thursday game, this is just such an idiot conversation point. I know that the local broadcasts don't appear on TV when the regular season starts. I'm just like really not perplexed, but like a little confused by this decision by the Patriots. With I believe it's the radio booth where the McCourty twins are in the booth. Mm-hmm. They're both really good broadcasters.
Oh yeah,
they're really good broadcasters. But there's one thing that we're forgetting here: they are identical twins. Can we please get them to say, "Hey guys, Jason here. Hey, Devin here."
You just did it. That's what it would sound like right there.
It wouldn't be that awkward. But they have the same voice. They're identical. Identical. I don't know how many times I need to say this.
Right.
They're identical.
What are they?
Identical.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
There's not much of a difference between the two of them. There's really none. It's just so funny listening. You're like,
who's talking?
Which twin is talking?
It feels like a fever dream.
Don't they have a podcast together too?
Dude, it's like...
Wait, I need to look this up.
If they're going to be doing a call, or if you're able to visibly watch the game, it almost needs to be like a Discord button where it lights up with a different logo for who's speaking. It would have to be a J or a D. Just this, so you know who is actually. I couldn't believe it. Imagine.
Yeah, they have a podcast,
dude. Imagine
what does that sound like?
Imagine somebody sitting in Pawtucket that night, just ready to watch the Pats. You know, they're sitting there stoned, and then they're going through the worst trip of their life because they don't know what the hell is what they're hearing.
Oh, they haven't done an episode since 2022.
I wonder why. Who's talking? Who's the point? It's a great point, but it sounds like a person is arguing or just talking with themselves.
Honestly, it's actually potentially one of the most unique media opportunities ever. Because if somebody loves hearing themselves talk, they can then listen to themselves talk twice over. And I'm sure that they share a lot of similar opinions. A lot of them.
Have you seen those clips of Colin Cowherd arguing himself on like the Aaron Rodgers topics?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
I'm trying to think though. Okay, outside of Rondé and Tiki Barber, are there any other like twins? Like the Lopez? I don't know. The Lopez brothers. They're not identical.
No. I don't. Any twins?
Like other sports twins that would be really funny if they had a podcast.
Well, I don't think many athletes are funny if they have a podcast. But like the Watts, like if you put the Watts in a booth, I wouldn't know who the hell was talking.
but there's such a different age range between all of them. They don't sound the same.
I think they all sound very.
They're
similar.
close, but they're not twins, so it's a little bit of a different thing here.
I'm trying to think of NFL twins.
The Gronks all kind of sound the same too, but they're not twins either.
At least the Mannings sound differently. I'll give them credit for that. Like Peyton still sounds like country, and then Eli.
Well, that's why that show is so entertaining. Is because there's such a,
Why is it? I just want to see Eli one day. Just say fuck you, Peyton. I'm sick of this. You know what? I'm sick of Omaha Productions. How about freaking Big D Eli Productions? How about that? How about Beat the Patriots Twice Productions? That's what I'm looking forward to on that simulcast. Holy hell! So sick of that. And here's my brother Eli looking dopey.
I'm gonna go listen to this McCourty Brothers podcast after we get off here. At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio, at Hack City Pod. Hit the subscribe button. Don't miss out. Saturday, 11:45 Eastern Time in the morning. We will be live during the entire Florida State versus Georgia Tech game. Do not miss it. Talk to you folks later.